All right, guys, here we go. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, since we don't have any motions to adjourn the meeting already to watch the Eagles game, I guess we have to move on. First item is recognizing our departing cataloger librarian, Frances Penner. Bill?
We had to unfortunately say goodbye to one of our librarians this evening. Fran is our cataloger at the library. Fran's been with us for 11 years, but part of a great team at our library. And she's been a very dedicated, loyal employee. And a cataloger is a little bit different than your general librarian. Your cataloger manages the archives. It's basically like the data management of the library and keeping track of all the materials in the library, the books, the CDs, the DVDs, all of them. And as you know, we have over 100,000 pieces of books and DVDs and CDs in our library. And some people look at that and say, "Wow, that's a really boring job. All they do is sit at the computer all day and catalog." But Fran was excellent at it. Fran loved it. It fit her well and her personality well, and it got her to become even the. I think you were the chair of the cataloger McLink committee in the county. So she chaired the cataloger committee of all the county libraries for Montgomery County. So, but we'll miss Fran, and she added a lot of spunk to the library and to the staff, and she was always fun and humorous and did a great job. I remember when she first came, I was like looking at shelves and boxes and carts of books and DVDs and CDs, and I'm like, when is this getting on the floor? When is this getting on the floor? And Fran cleared it all out. We will miss Fran, but we wish her well. And we thank you for your service to our library and our community over the last 11 years. But we'll miss you. And thank you.
Hey, well, congratulations again. We, excuse me, we do have a proclamation to give you. We are here today to express our appreciation to Frances Penner and to honor her for her time with Horsham Township and her dedicated service to the residents of Horsham. Fran began her career with Horsham Township in 2012 as head of technical services. Over the last 11-plus years, she has served not only Horsham Township, but the surrounding communities throughout Montgomery County through her work in maintaining and updating the shared catalog, McLink, we'll call it, right? For a decade, every item placed on the library shelves has crossed Fran's desk as she's added it into the system. Fran performs the behind-the-scenes work to keep the library running smoothly, thus allowing residents of all ages to find what they are looking for with ease. She will be missed by her coworkers and patrons alike. So on behalf of Horsham Township, the entire staff, we want to thank you and express our sincere appreciation to Fran for her dedication over the past 11 years and wish her much happiness as she begins this exciting new chapter in her life. Again, congratulations. Would you like to add anything to that? Would you like to come up and make a comment? You're just the shy librarian, right? Would you like to add anything? No? Okay. In that case, Bill, we'll do a couple pictures. You want to come on up? All right. Next item is just an announcement. Horsham Township has been recognized for its achievement and leadership in minimizing workspace injuries and illnesses during 2022. Bill, you want to elaborate on that a little?
Part of our culture here at Horsham Township is safety, and we are members of the Delaware Valley Workers' Compensation Trust, which has over 100 municipalities, counties, and school districts as members. As we did last year, we fell into the top 3 with the safety and risk management and workplace injuries. And this is something that speaks to the staff at all levels. from myself all the way through down to the bottom of our part-timers who are covered by workers' compensation, that we have one of the best records in this trust group to be in the top three over 100 different government agencies. And it's something that's important to us here in Horsham, that our people come to work safe and go home safe. And while they're here, we keep them safe. And it's really a culture that's been ingrained in everyone here in Horsham Township. And our record is excellent when it comes time for workplace injuries, and we're pretty proud of that. And it's a team effort, and everyone's involved to make it happen. And it's good, and it's nice to be recognized for the work that everyone does to make that happen. And it helps us with our premium rates too. So it helps us there, not that they don't go up, but maybe not go up as much. But the staff really does a good job, and I'm happy to report that, we have very, very few injuries here at Horsham Township during the work time.
Great news. Congratulations to all. Next item, opportunity questions, comments from public. Anyone? All right, being none, we're going to move on to the approval list of checks. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the list of checks in all funds in the amount of $963,042.20, and further move to authorize payment of same.
Second. Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. One subdivision land development plan for 929 Elm Pike?
Yes, and the property owner and their engineer, right? Engineers here to present those plans to you. And I believe in front of you, you also have a waiver, list of waiver requests from them.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council. Vince Fioravanti here with Jim Oliveris tonight, the owner of 929 Limekiln Pike. Before you, we have a minor subdivision that we just received a recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission on September 5th. We did receive all the requisite reviews, Township Engineer, Fire Marshal, Township Planner, County Planning Commission. The application, as you can see, is very simple. Essentially a subdivision of one lot into two, zoned R3. What we can do is I'll just go through the project really quick. The letters that we received are also very clean and will comply. We do have a couple of waivers and one or two discussion items. Looking at the site, it's 3.45 acres in an R3 zone where the minimum lot area is 32,000 square feet. The manor dwelling here will be retained on Lot 1, and the new dwelling proposed for Lot 2. Lot 1 is 1.94 acres. Lot 2 is 1.5 acres, so there's plenty of room. Of course, by the time Lot 2 does get developed with a buyer, probably a more intricate house design, so there'll be a permit plan required, for grading on that dwelling. Looking at the impervious covers, they're all compliant. The waivers that we're requesting are the first two waivers have to do with the approval request for preliminary and final simultaneously, as opposed to doing them.
Let's do those one at a time, just get them out of the way.
Okay.
So the first waiver is preliminary plan subdivision review procedure, allow the plan to be considered preliminary final.
Yes.
Sounds like the first two were almost the same thing, right?
Right, that's what he was saying, and it's a minor subdivision, so preliminary and final is the way to go.
We can knock 1 and 2 out right away. Everybody okay with that? All right, number 3. Road widening.
Yes.
Limekiln Pike doesn't have sidewalks,
It's a waiver
no
of
curbs, right?
Right, 19831C to not require road widening, curbing, or sidewalk along the streets abutting the subdivision. In this area, it's PennDOT highway. The width is uniform, and we think that all those improvements wouldn't match anything on either side, so it would be an expense without a benefit. So those waivers are requested.
Everybody good with that?
No. You have a resolution with if someone would like to be waived, that there's a fee in lieu of the sidewalk, and that's what was agreed upon and approved next door when this property here was subdivided. It's not built yet, but that approval was a fee in lieu of the sidewalk.
We would be agreeable to that.
The only objection?
That's it.
Okay, everybody good with that? Okay, that's your waivers. What else do you got?
The other item was a discussion item with fire marshal review letter, stated that he wanted to see where the existing hydrants were, and that a hydrant should be within 400 feet of dwellings. So we did look, I think it might be the next exhibit, the closest hydrant, and you can see if you scroll it up a little bit more, is about 350 feet at the back of Downey. Let's see, you can see it in the middle of the screen, and that's the closest hydrant. The water main does go along Downey on the lime kiln, and we've proposed to resolve this, a hydrant right at the intersection there of Downey and Lime Kiln Pike. That will put us within 400 feet of the entire property, essentially. So that was the discussion item. We'll put a T in there and a hydrant right where that arrow is, and that should take care of that. The next slide, if we can slide one more, I think we have a radius diagram with the hydrants. So if we were to put the hydrant in, you can see that the radius, the 400-foot radius is drawn across the site, would easily cover the houses, and would be 282 feet from the proposed dwelling.
Our marshals good with that?
Yes. And that was basically it. The other discussion item that we had looked at was the fact that putting notes on the plans that when the actual dwelling is submitted for permits, that a grading and landscaping plan would be required. And we'll put that note on the plan.
It's something you could add?
I'm trying to look at Eric, but
I'll move out of the way.
no, it's good.
I think that was discussed with the planning commission.
Yeah, we suggested that, so, yeah, I think he's just saying he's going to comply with the comment in our letter, so.
It's in your letter? All right. So everything in the Gilmore letter is it will comply?
Yes.
All right.
And the fire hydrant thing is?
He can comply with the fire marshal letter if the fire marshal said 400 feet and you're 350.
Yes,
All right, is that it?
that would be it, yeah.
I'll get a resolution to you
Very good.
about a week before the meeting and that you can look over.
Very
And There'll
good.
be an agreement to accept conditions, just like the last time, Mr. Olivera.
Thank you.
Right. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks for your time. All right. Next is zoning hearing board applications. We got 4 of them. Oak
Yes.
Ridge Drive is first one?
First one is Oak Ridge Drive, and is our R1 residential district. It's the new housing development out at County Line and Keith Valley. And the property owner would like to install, it's a corner property, and as council is well aware of, both side yards are considered front yards in our zoning code. And you are only allowed to permit a 4-foot-high fence in a front yard. They would like to put a 6-foot fence. You can see it in the red and the yellow. This is Oak Ridge Drive here, and this is the house. This is the front yard, rear yard. So this is the area that they would like to put a 6-foot fence up, and we're okay with it, with conditions that it's outside of the right-of-way of the road, as well as further enough outside of the right-of-way that the fence is buffered. Our zoning code requires buffering. When you put a 6-foot fence up in the front yard, that you put some type of landscaping and buffering in front of the fence to sort of give it some buffer, and not that you just have this 6-foot wall there in the front yard. So that's our recommended condition.
Does that cause any sight or vision problems along the road?
No.
Okay.
Everybody good with that, with the condition? Okay, we'll go neutral.
Okay.
Next is 1045 Lime Kiln Pike.
1045 Limekiln Pike, and I don't know why the red dot, I apologize, is not going off. Oh, there we go. Let me get this screen off. Is Kathy Davis and Peter Waltz, and they are here with us this evening. Hopefully I got the right one this time. Yes. So what Kathy and Peter would like to do is demolish and reconstruct an existing attached garage with the same footprint, with the second-story space and a breezeway to connect to their single-family dwelling. This has to do with the floodplain. So their entire property, as you can see here, the house, everything, when FEMA changed their floodplain maps in 2016, basically their entire area of their home and property got included in the floodplain. So this is their house here. This is off Limekill Pike. So here's Limekill Pike, and their driveway comes down. This is their house. This is the garage that we're talking about here. And so it's a floodplain. Our floodplain ordinance says that you're not allowed to improve an existing building in the floodplain. So if they're granted this relief, they'll be able to reconstruct the garage in the same footprint, and they like to add on the second story, which primarily will be an art studio for Kathy. As many as you know, Kathy owned Kathy Davis Studios in Horsham for many, many years, and her cards are still floating out there in some stores. You can find them. But and Kathy's done amazing work with many things in Horsham here, but they're not expanding the footprint. They're just going up. So the staff is neutral with the condition that the second story of studio is Kathy's studio. It's not for art classes. It doesn't become an art gallery. It doesn't become a business. It doesn't become an in-law suite or a future apartment. That it's Kathy's studio above the garage. And Pete and Kathy are here.
I was good with that?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Well, then, you guys up here good? Okay, we'll go neutral. Next is Keith Valley Road, JR Real Estate.
They are here, and their attorney, Kristen Pianzio, is here to review their application with you. Switch.
Good evening. Kristen Pianzio from Hamburg, Rubin, Mullen, Maxwell, and Lupin. I'm here with Tim Woodrow, who's our civil engineer, Jim Roche of Select Soccer, and Tristan Priest, who operates the current Select Soccer location. If you remember, back in 2019, we were here in front of you to erect the existing indoor training facility on Keith Valley Road. That's 223 Keith Valley Road. They've purchased the property next door where Moyer Oil is, and they're still there. That's going to run out at some point in the near future as far as the lease that they have leased back. So they've been here a while. They have identified a need in this area for adult leagues for soccer. So the proposal is to merge the parcels together, take down the old tired Moyer building, and erect it's about 82,000 square foot addition to the existing building. We have to go to the zoning hearing board. If we're successful there, we'll have to go through a land development process and be back before your folks, go through the whole review process, the land development review with your planning commission and with council. So knowing that, we'd like to go to the zoning hearing board for some dimensional relief. As you know, the use is not permitted in the I-2 industrial district, so it's the same use variance that we asked for previously. We have some dimensional relief that we require. We have a rear yard setback here. This is Commonwealth National Country Club along the rear property line. So we have a rear yard variance here. This is considered a front yard next to, I say Graham. Is it Graham Park? Okay. Graham Park Road is a street, so we need front yard setbacks from that. So we have the building setback from Graham Park. We need relief there as well as the parking. Impervious, the limitation is 65%. We're only about 2.7 over. And we are confident that we can handle the stormwater management on this property for that overage and otherwise. As you remember, your parking for an indoor recreational facility was written, I think, for something like, what was it called? Good Times, something times on County Line Road. What was it called? Happy Times, yes. With the parties and all the kids and the events that they had there. So the parking's really high. They're able to achieve 241 spaces once we merge it and put the parking lot together. So we will have more parking per square feet than they do now with the existing facility. And we had a staff meeting. Staff asked a lot of questions about parking because there is no overflow possibility here on Keith Valley Road. And they've learned a lot with the operation. They've learned that they need to stagger the times so that people coming and going aren't overlapping. They know that the peak use is in the evening because these are grown men, mostly, that would come in for soccer in the evening. They don't have spectators. I think it's more of a get out of the house and the wife stays home. So we don't think we're going to have the parking demand or any traffic at the peak times so that there would be interference. But we would look at all that during the land development. So we're asking for you to remain neutral. They have already reached out to the neighbors. A couple of the neighbors across the way up in this area came last time. So they've written to the neighbors and started that outreach, knowing that we need to make that effort prior to the zoning hearing board. And the concerns were the same, lights, landscaping. So we'll address that and come back to you folks.
Bill, you have comments, I'm sure?
I just have a few, which I mainly brought up also at the staff meeting, was when the first building was built, we waived sidewalks, but this is different now. And we're trying to be a walkable community. We know the base is going to be redeveloped down the street sometime in the future. So I would say, and I know it's part of land development, but I also want to say, now is maybe also time to make it permanent, that, sidewalks are included, that the facade is to township council satisfaction of the new building, and hopefully it matches what's there, but some type of language in the condition that the facade is to satisfaction of the township council. The basin out front, I know stormwater is also part of land development, but sometimes basins in the front, I don't know what it's going to look like. Basins in the front can take away aesthetically from a property. So I'm just a little concerned about that too, if that can go underground or some type of, maybe a language, the condition that, the basin, landscaping in the basin is some type of condition language that the basin meets township satisfaction for landscaping or something like that. I've just seen basins that don't look too pretty in the front yard, because that's the only place you could go. And it takes away from the beautiful building and property. And then only my final comment is, I don't know, this is a question for more Kristen and Mary, is the biggest unknown here is the parking. What they tell us today, yes, I think it will work. But will they be the owners in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years? Will there be new owners that don't look at the township and the township's needs and problems like they do? And, he's a township resident, so stakeholder. So I worry about the future and who will be the new owners in the future. And I don't know, some type of language could be like some type of, like they told us in the meeting, like staggering and scheduling and stuff, that if the ownership changes in the future and we have a parking problem and they just shrug their shoulders at us and say, well, we got approvals, we have something, our code enforcement, the township has something to say, you're not doing what was a condition put upon you, the property. So that's, I don't know if something could be worked out or not. Like I said, from what they tell us, I'm not expecting a problem. I'm just looking down into the future.
I think I can talk to Mary about
Yeah, we can do something with those, something like it, like.
the number of fields and staggering the times.
Staggering the times, if there's a problem in the future, the owner and future owners will work with township to resolve parking issues.
There's 3 other conditions though, right? So there's sidewalk conditions. Are you willing to put that into us going neutral if you agree to
Well-
make that a condition?
Yes, because it's a requirement during land development, and your waiver for sidewalk is more expensive than putting the sidewalk in, so that's easy for me to say yes to.
Okay, and then the facade,
Yes, the
It's another
facade will,
condition.
will match, and we'll give you something at land development.
And then the
Base.
The
basin, yeah.
basin, I mean, you have, I'm looking at Eric, but you have planting requirements in your basin, so we're willing to follow the code. I think the newer basins are more attractive because you can get more creative with the plantings that are necessary for BMPs, so.
I just have the design of the basin in front of the building will be subject to the approval of council, and just
Okay.
let it
That's
like
fine.
that.
Say, so you gotta
Yeah,
work that
we can do that.
language out.
Yeah.
Right. And then you already talked about the parking. So that's
Yeah, we
another
can work that out.
fourth condition. So you're good with all four conditions?
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing I would do on the parking is you commented that, well, they have to work with us to work it out. And that's kind of open-ended. We've had some other places in the past where we put together some agreement where if parking reached a certain problem level that could be defined, they had to have some kind of valet parking to cover the
I
overflow.
think that was them. I think that was them the first time they came in, they had,
I'm just thinking, we want something.
the
Wasn't us.
Grassa also had a,
That was the one I was thinking of. And we've always managed to work it out, but at least there was something defined in there rather than open-ended.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, I'm trying to think of the nearest parking lot, it's probably at Carpenter Park, the back lot. And there's no on-street parking, so I'd like to be very specific on the parking wording that we agree upon.
Okay.
Barry, you'll work that out? The
yeah, I think, the most important things that there can't be stacking of cars to pick up people, or to get in and out of the property, and that would be the biggest parking problem. And, no stacking. Okay, I got it.
All good?
Yep.
Everybody good with that? And then we'll go neutral? Okay.
Great, thank you, nice to see you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, finally, we have 1230 Maplewood Drive.
This is in our R2 zoning district, and it's again, it's a corner lot. So Chestnut Lane and Maplewood, and let me blow it up here 1 second. So it has to do with this proposed garage over here. And this is the, again, front yard / side yard that people look at it, but it's a front yard, and it's required to be 60 feet. If they get this, they're seeking a variance to build this proposed garage, and it would be, the side yard or front yard would be 47.1 feet. Staff's recommendation is neutral with the condition that the garage can only be used for residential accessory use. It cannot be used for in-law suite, apartment, or business. And we say this because we're looking at the building plans, and though the building plans, except for the front yard setback, they don't need any variances for, but it's a little bit unique and different than what we normally see. This proposed garage addition has a full second story with a restroom, has a full basement, and a lift in the garage. So none of that, is
You
normal.
mean lift in terms of a automobile repair sense, not in an elevator like?
Yes, automobile. So there's other garages in town that have lifts, but we just want some conditions on there that we're not, we've met with the family. The family seems very nice. But again, who knows what the future has in store? And we just want some conditions on there to protect the neighborhood, that no business, no apartment, no in-law suite, residential accessory use only.
Are you okay with those conditions? Okay, we'll go neutral with those conditions. Anything else, Bill? All right, being nothing else on the agenda, this meeting's adjourned.